Hello, we are in the 2015 Adobe Illustrator CC Classroom in a Book series. We're on Lesson 9, Organizing Your Artwork with Layers. You might be familiar with layers, we played around with them quite a bit before. So I've already downloaded my files. I have LN opened and L9 Start open. And we're kind of going to jump over to this missing fonts dialog box, which is jumping up. We can't do anything with it. So, like our type lecture last week, we're using Typekit. So it says this is the exact font that's missing and it's available from Typekit. So we're going to click Sync Fonts so we can find and pull it up. And it may take a minute for it to find those fonts, but it will be helpful. It's taken a while to find it, and I can't do anything. See if my Creative Cloud is finding it. I remember last time when I synced fonts from Typekit, it took some time. So I feel like this might be similar. Well, do you have an update available? Oh, don't think I should have done that. So what I'm going to do is stop this video and start back up when it kind of shows on up. So that file has synced from Typekit, and let's actually look at the end file. Now this isn't actually how it's supposed to look. There's not supposed to be this sort of white border. Why it's like that I don't know, but we'll play around with it. I'm kind of trying to match it with the images on page 251. But we're working at layers, and if you can remember, we're toggling things open and there's information. And if we click on a layer, those indicators will select what we're looking on, and there's the bounding box. And you can hold down Shift, and you can play around with all sorts of stuff. There's a diagram on the page of 253. So we're going to go back to the start file where we're going to start making some images. We're on page 254, creating layers and sublayers. So layer 1, we have some information. And we are going to rename it layer 1 to shirt front. It's helpful to rename your layers so you know what's going on and where they are located. So we're just going to double click layer 1. This kind of shows up where you can click on there. And we're just going to name it shirt layer. And we actually didn't rename our file. We rename our file to shirts.ai. And then do a save. So the next we're going to do, we're in steps 3. We're going to create a new layer, with this new page icon. We're familiar. We've done this new page icon before. We're going to click it, and we're going to notice there's no triangle because there's nothing nested underneath this layer. And there's no content in it, there's nothing going on, so we're just going to rename it to Shirt Back. Right there. And by default, the new layer is added on top of the stack, and you can always drag below to kind of rearrange it. So what we're going to do is we're going to Option click or Alt click the new layer button to open up these layer patterns. So this modifier key does this, and if you need to change adjustments and whatnot, you can do it here. You can change the color. The color is right there, and that's going to be the color for all the bounding boxes as well. And this is going to be named to Pattern Front. And then we're going to do another one, and we're going to name Labels. So we've made 4 new layers, and we're going to drag the Pattern Front to layer, this one here, to the new page icon, and this is going to duplicate it. So if there was content, it would be duplicated. If there's no content, so it would not be duplicated. The color is duplicated though. And we're going to take that new one we duplicated, and it has a dot, 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 and we're going to rename it to Pattern Back. So now we're going to create sublayers because things can be nested up within each other. We're on page 256. So we're going to click on the layer named Shirt Front to select it. And we're going to click on the new sublayer button, which is actually this one. It has a little arrow underneath. As you can see, it defaults to layer 6. And we're just going to rename it to Front Collar. This is just a great way to keep your stuff organized. You don't think of layers as much as you do in Photoshop because everything's automatically created into new parts. But once you're working with layers, you can separate things out and get that comfortable with that organization. You've seen me work with them before, so it's pretty cool. So now we're going to edit some layers and objects. We're on page 257. So when working with artwork, there may be times when you select content on the artboard and want to locate it in the layers panel, and this is how we can help find it. And we're like, I don't know what this is, where can I find it, and rearrange it in the stack. So with the selection tool, keyboard shortcut V, we're going to select the yellow green sleeves on the shirt under front, and I'm able to find it. Okay, it's got a blue bounding box here, and there's blue that's matching, but also there's a little dot right here, and it indicates where it's located in this nested. So I can toggle this open and kind of go down, and it's actually in this group. And since both are selected because they're grouped together, they're all selected right there. And you know what, let's rename this group to Front Sleeves, because I want to be accurate. So when I send this to my client, they know exactly where everything is, everything makes sense in the program. And you notice that says group here, lets me know that it's a group. And if we deselect, so we're just going to hide all these contents because it can get quite a bit and a lot to search through. So next we're going to move content between layers. So we're on page 258 and we're going to go into the outline mode. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our selection tool and draw a box around the back shirt content. So we're just to select it. And I actually want these two lines selected too. I'm looking at the picture on page 258. And now we've selected everything in there. In our layers panel, we notice that this little indicator right here is pointing to the figure. Now this is actually shirt back. Notice the color of the bounding box and everything is just corresponding to this, which is helpful to organize it. We're going to drag the selected indicator right here, and we're going to drag it to shirt back, so the layer below it. And we're just going to do it above that target icon, which is this guy. So we're just going to drag that there. Notice the color's changed because that information was selected and shifted to a different layer. So if we go back onto preview, it's just on a different layer. So if we select it, red dot and everything is red again. So we're going to toggle this open from shirt back. And then we're going to press the Shift key while clicking on the group object to select both sublayers from shirt front up to the labels layer. Should toggle back. We're on shirt layer. And we want these two right here. And Shift is a good way to select both. In Illustrator, you use Shift. A lot of time you're used to using either the Control or the Command key. And we're just going to click and drag this up to labels. And you notice it's highlighted over there. My mouth is kind of, not my mouth, my hand is like held, it's closing it, and I drop it there. And I notice I've moved those objects there. We're going to Shift click on the shirt front and shirt back layers to select them, and we're going to drag them below the layers, the label layers and the layers panel. So we want shirt front and shirt back. So we're just both of those are selected. And you notice how I'm going to this right between. Nothing's highlighted except for that little white line. And then they're shifted. They're above in the stack. And then with the selection tool, let's select the white t-shirt with a shirt labeled front here. We're going to do Edit Cut. And Edit Paste in front. And that's going to kind of put that shirt on top. Cut the artwork, paste onto the layer, pattern front into the same location. So, let's actually reread this. The selection tool, select the white t-shirt from the shirt labeled Edit Cut. Select the pattern front layer. Aha. So I'm going to just do an undo. We're going to click pattern front, edit, paste in front, or Command F. And I didn't want to do it there because it's still in that shirt layer. We want to put it on a different layer. See, it wants to put it in the same location. You know what? I'm going to undo. We're going to be selected on this layer. Select this object. Paste in front just wants to put it there. You know what? What we're going to do is we're just going to click and drag. because it's not wanting to work for me for some reason. And we're going to do the same thing because we're cutting it, we're getting rid of it, and we're just moving it. So shirt back, click and drag. And this just replaces it into a different pattern. So it can deselect, and I'm trying to match these layer panels on the bottom of page 260. Once you completed that, you can watch the next video.